family watching us all over the world. You're welcome to Fixing Nigeria with Dr. Sunday Adelaja, and I'm your host, Anu Ojo. It's always a pleasure to be on your screens every Friday evening on this special program tagged Fixing Nigeria. As you join us on Facebook and on YouTube, thank you for joining us today, and I would like to encourage you to please share this video, share the link to your friends, your family members, Nigerians, Africans, and to everybody all over the world. Well, Fixing Nigeria is that special program, and I intentionally use the word special because this program is targeted at not just talking and discussing about Nigeria and its myriad of problems and challenges, but this program is focused on proffering practical solutions that addresses the fundamental problems of Nigeria. We address the values that are wrong in Nigeria and in Nigerians. We're talking about the content of character that must change in the present Nigerians. We're talking about the fundamental systems of ethics that must experience revolution. You know, many people say Nigeria cannot change, and many people also say that Nigeria needs a revolution. But the only revolution that we know and we believe that Nigeria needs is not a revolution of knives and guns or people just coming on the streets and protesting. That would not bring the desired change that we hope for. But the kind of revolution that we need in Nigeria and in Africa at large is the revolution of our mind. And it is the ethical revolution. We have, as a people, to work on our values. As a people, we have to work on the things that defines us. Who is a Nigerian? Can you describe that? What are the values that defines us as Nigerians? Or if you're an African, either you're from Ghana or you're from Tanzania, who is a Tanzanian? Who is a Ghanaian? What are the values that defines you as a people? That's exactly what we're talking about, and this is the primary focus of Fixing Nigeria. We don't want to repair Nigeria. We want to replace Nigeria. And the replacement plan is to start with replacing our value system as a people and as a nation. So you're very much welcome. As you can see on the screen, there is a book titled The Value-Driven Nation. This book is written and published by Dr. Sunday Adelaja, and this book is a book for anyone and everyone who is interested in building a nation that is driven by the right set of values. Dr. Sunday has a quotation on national development, and he says that nations are not great by virtue of their wealth, but nations are great by the wealth of their virtues. So if we want to build a new Nigeria, if we want to build a great Nigeria, if we want to build a great Africa, then we must cease bragging on the fact that we are a wealthy nation or we're a wealthy continent having a lot of materials. Well, it's apparent that that has not brought us so much development and civilization. But it's time for us to have a shift in our minds. And we must begin to brag now as a people of virtues, people who have the right value systems that would lead to national transformation. So you're very much welcome. As a usual practice, we try to give our viewers who are watching just a sneak view into what we discussed last week. So I would like us to just watch the snippets of our discussion and deliberation on the previous week on fixing Nigeria. Stay tuned.
The fact that you have an eye doesn't mean that you are seeing, because seeing is a function of the mind. Sight is the function of the mind, and looking is the function of the eyes. Everybody looks, but few see. So only few people are able to see, because you don't see with your eyes, you look with your eyes. But for you to see, you need sight, you need insight, you need understanding. You see with your mind. You look with your eyes, but you see with your mind. So eyes is the function of the eyes. Physical eyes is looking is the function of the eyes, while seeing is the function of the mind.
Good. So can we say seeing is vision? Or
seeing is vision.
Seeing is vision.
Yes.
How can we see with our mind?
Well, that is the whole essence of sight. And that is the whole essence of foresight. Because we don't see with our eyes. We only look with our eyes. A lot of children right now are being born with autism. Well, as you know, it's like what you said. Most people are thinking that's a tragedy.
Yes.
Well, you could see it as a tragedy only if you don't know enough. If you know enough, you will discover that autism is a blessing. So what is autism? Autism is when a child loses some of the natural functionality of the body that is natural for normal human being. So there is a blockage of some areas of life in that child, but there is a purpose behind it. If any child is having autism, it is the challenge or the responsibility of the parents to search until they discover the reason behind that autism. Not to be searching outside though. No, you don't search outside of yourself. And you don't search outside of your home. You don't search outside of the child. I don't say go and be going from one prophet to the other, from one place to the other. No, that's not what I mean. Because for every child that has autism, there is a blockage, like I said. But wherever there is a blockage somewhere, there is an opening in another place. So if any child has autism, maybe he cannot speak very well. At that point, you are thinking he cannot speak very well and you have a tragedy. No. Look for the opening. He might be thinking deep. He might not be able to speak, but he might be a deep thinker.
Is Nigeria a nation of vision and foresight?
Nigeria, as a nation.
As a nation.
I won't say so. I saw vision and foresight in Nigerian leadership each time that Obasanjo was in power. Okay. In the 70s, when he was in power, he demonstrated foresight because they had national plans and national goals every 5 years. National economic planning. Then when he left, everything disappeared. The new ones didn't continue. Also, when he was in power the second time, he came up with the idea of 20-20-20 for Nigeria to be in the top 20 economies in the world by the year 2020, which is today, this year. Yeah. But when he left, his successors never followed up. So that fell by the side. So right now, I can't see the foresight and vision in the people, in the crop of people who are leading Nigeria right now. I can't see their vision. Well, not just for them, but for people before them too. Most of the time, and most of the leaders of Nigeria, what I see that they do and they think is vision is they have agendas.
Okay.
So they will tell you 7-point agenda, 5-point agenda, 3-point agenda, and they think that is vision. But those are not vision. That is not vision. Those are fire brigade style of implementation of assignments or work tasks. Those are fire brigade approach to leadership. That is not leadership. That is micromanaging.
I want to know how the church and maybe religious institutions, but better the church because that's where we belong, how the church should help or can help in building a people of vision and foresight.
First of all, the church has to stop being religious to do that. As long as the church is religious, they cannot build people of foresight and vision.
I know you have a lot of teachings out there about religious, but do you want to just highlight points how the church is being religious now so that they can understand what it means not to be religious?
As long as the church is busy making people to think that church is about dancing and jumping, they don't have time for vision and foresight.
That's 50% of church activities gone.
So as long as what they are doing in church is dancing and jumping and music, they don't have time for vision and understanding. Number two, the church must refocus itself from sensual stimulation to mental development. Right now, most of the things that are done in churches is geared towards senses and sensual stimulation. Whereas that does not lead to vision and foresight. It is something else at least to vision and foresight. It is mental development of the people. Next point, the attitude and the use of the Bible must stop being the way it is right now in the churches.
That's the you have to explain. You have to explain what you mean.
Because right now in churches, the Bible is being used as a religious book. But as long as you are using the Bible as a religious book, it will never lead you to vision and foresight.
All right. Well, dear viewers, that was some snippets from our previous episode. As a matter of fact, you can watch the full episode. The way to do that is to go to Dr. Sunday's YouTube channel. That is Dr. Sunday Adelaja on YouTube. When you get there, just search for the playlist titled Fixing Nigeria. You'll be able to see not just this episode, but all of our previous episodes on Fixing Nigeria. And you could also share the videos, share the playlist to your friends. Perhaps they will find some of our videos helpful and beneficial to them. Well, I'm not alone in the studio, and it's my great pleasure and honor to present Dr. Sunday Adelaja on today's episode. You're very much welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for always being here.
Well, we are partners in the program, so awesome. I don't have a way out.
Thank you very much. I want to jumpstart today's discussion from a statement that you made from the last episode. And then when I asked you about if Nigeria is a nation of vision, if we're a nation of vision, you made a reference to past President Olusegun Obasanjo, and you said that it was during his regime that vision was implemented as such in Nigeria. But as soon as there was a successor, or when he went out of office, everything went into thin air. Now my question is, why is it like that? And this is a recurring thing in Nigeria, where we see a certain governor or president or official in office trying to accomplish certain projects or certain things, but then as soon as he leaves office, that becomes an abandoned project, and we have new people who are coming and they're bringing their own philosophies, bringing their own plans. So almost like nothing gets to be completed in Nigeria. Why is it like that? And I'm asking because I know there is a saying that government is a continuum, right? So it's meant to be in continuum. So, but why is Nigeria an exception?
Well, this happens not just in Nigeria.
Okay.
This happens in many countries. It's almost in every country, but it is one of the what we call the opportunity cost of democracy. Mm-hmm. So we choose democracy, and this is one of the downfalls of democracy, the fallouts of democracy, because even in America it happens. Like Obama, for example, was doing certain programs, and Trump came, and he reversed a lot of them. Yeah. But the only thing that makes the Nigerian situation to be much more vivid is because we don't have structures and institutions in place that are there to enforce some of the things that are already put in systems. So if there had been systems and institutions and structures, some of the things were going to be irreversible, because they're just going to be already put in the system and it's already rolling. But with Nigeria, it makes it much more obvious and glaring and catastrophic. But that's one reason. The second reason is because the leader who is leaving has not taken time to develop the next leader that was supposed to succeed him. So leaders don't raise successors. So people who come in, even though they might be from the same political party, or they might be followers and adherents of the previous leaders, but they must be more than that. They must be mentees who have the same understanding. Then there could be continuity.
Mm-hmm. Wow, interesting. I think one of the things we're going to discuss in today's topic is how we can get the very best hands and people who have integrity to be the leaders and to be the people occupying our offices in Nigeria. Because today's topic is Nigerians and the lack of integrity. Nigerians and the lack of integrity. I think it is obvious. I mean, even the blind can see, and the deaf also will acknowledge that we are infamous for the lack of integrity. It's like our tag, and it's a label that either we put on ourselves or people have put on us. But integrity is a word that is understood by Nigerians as an English word, as a vocabulary, but it is very far from our reality expressed in our actions and our day-to-day dealings. Why is that the case?
Because people are people. If people don't have restraints, and if they don't have systems around them that provides restraints for them, they are going to be, they are going to fall apart. They are going to disintegrate morally, and they are going to come to a place of degradation and corruption and what you call lack of integrity. So it's natural for humans to want to indulge themselves in things that their body and their desires crave for, that might not necessarily be all right. But the reason why it seems to be obvious or more glaring in Nigeria is because there are no restraints in place. There are no systems on ground that are working against the entropy of human nature. But because in the West, for example, first of all, there is the restraint of the society, because a large number of people in the society are forced to do the right thing because of the society itself, because of the overwhelming majority of people that expect you to do what is right. The second restraint is that the Western world has a system of rule of law in place, but that where the law is paramount and the law is final. So, but in our case, we don't have a rule of law. We are not a society of rule of law. We are a society of rule of power, rule of money, but no rule of law. So that is another restraint that makes people in the West to behave right. Even Nigerians, when they come to that kind of system, they will behave right because there are restraints in place. Then there is another internal restraint that people in the West have. And that internal restraint is coming from the fact that they were born into a system and they were brought up in the school system and grew up in a system where everything has always worked. So they know what is right and what is wrong from the very beginning. So that develops into their character and into their lifestyle to do what is right. And that is another reason why they have it and we seem not to have it. And of course, even religion is not helping us in our own case, because religion doesn't teach integrity. Religious teaches, our religion, the way we practice religion is supposed to teach integrity, because even in the West, it is religion that has helped them to build those fundamentals into their society. But in our own case, the form of religion that we are practicing is mainly charismatic Pentecostal, which is not just even that, but it's mainly word of faith, kind of the word of faith doctrines of Christianity that is based on instant gratification. And so it doesn't encourage qualities and virtues that could produce integrity. So even in our society, even though we are religious in our society, and we try to believe that religious people are holy people, but then we are talking about the problem we have with our own description of holiness. Holiness is supposed to be synonymous to integrity. But in our own case, what we call holiness is normally domestic holiness, which is bordered on don't smoke, don't drink, and don't sleep about. Don't smoke, don't drink, and don't sleep about. But what you do in the society, and on regular basis, on daily basis, with your fellow human being, and in the society as a whole, also doesn't really matter, as long as you gain. So that kind of domestic righteousness is the direct opposite of true integrity. And like I said, in the West, the environment always, encourages people to live right. which is 50% always of what happens to us. And but in our own case, since the society is a society of the survival of the fittest, and where everybody could get their way, where the end justifies the means, and that is the overwhelming majority. So it means people are automatically conditioned to be people of lack of character and lack of integrity. So lack of integrity is natural to the flesh and to the carnal nature of men. And also our worldview, our paganistic worldview also contributes to this. Because in our worldview, in our worldview, or which is paganistic worldview, you are conditioned to survive. Paganistic worldview is more about survival. So you need God to help you to survive. And but the real thing there is about you. So the reason why you go to church is for make you better, so that the gods will bless your harvest, so that there will be harvest this year. It's about you, so that the gods will protect your children, so that you will come out and come back, so that you will be blessed and have provisions and for your bread. I mean, for bread and butter on your table, so that you have good health, and so that you have good long life. So it is all about you, and anything that focuses on person, on an individual as a person, that is egocentric and egocentrism. And ego is all about me. So anything that can make me win, is good for me. So that is what that worldview has. So our worldview naturally is seen as permissible, since you are not offending the gods. It's not about not offending your neighbor, but it's just about not offending the God. The gods themselves might even tell you, go and sacrifice your neighbor. So the God themselves, the only thing, they have their own selective morals, like they call them taboos. As long as you don't cross those taboos, you don't cross the line of the taboos, the gods themselves will encourage you to go and bring this, so that you will prosper, so that things will be good for you. And that mindset is what is still responsible today in our society for people trying to sacrifice other individuals, other human beings, even sacrificing. I mean, they believe in money rituals. And the reason they believe in money rituals, because that is coming from those paganistic worldview, that anything that enhances you, even if it's going to be the head of your enemy or your neighbor, is good enough as long as it enhances you. And the same thing, that's why they will pray, and the churches have inherited that same thing, that pattern, and that pattern of life. So they will now pray for the enemies to die as long as it enhances you. They will now pray that you should kill the witches, so that the witch will not kill you. So anything that enhances you or your life, even if it's going to be the death of your enemy or your neighbor or any other person, or even your parents, even in the church, they will say anybody that is against your success in life, even if it's your mother and your father, that they must die this year. Even if in fact, some people will even support you to starve or beat your mom or your parents or your relatives, just because they are hindering your success, so to say. So that worldview of egocentrism is what the church is also encouraging. So the church, therefore, another reason why we don't have integrity, I'm giving you too many reasons, but another reason is because when Christianity came, Christianity was able to change other nations and other countries, Europe, America, everywhere where Protestants went. Christianity changed all nations of the world. But why is it that Christianity is not changing the modern African continent, even though it's changed in the beginning. It's brought some change in the beginning. But right now, why? Because the kind of Christianity that we're proclaiming right now is no more Christianity. That is not, is pseudo-Christianity, neo-Christianity, which is not real Christianity. It's syncretism and paganism. So people don't know. They're still calling it the Christianity, but it's not Christianity. When real Christianity is practiced, it is supposed to be about transformation. So like I said, like Europe and human beings in general, they are carnal, and they have the tendency to move towards entropy of character, values, life, standards, and things, and that's what brings in a lack of integrity. But why then has that entropy not taken place in Europe and in those Christian countries? Because there is a strong opposite force, opposite dynamics. So the opposite dynamic that is there is transformational relationship with God. Because the whole essence of faith in God, in Christianity, is to bring about transformation. So what is transformation? Transformation that God brings to your life, or that faith in God brings to you, should interpret to mean that I've come to God and now I am becoming like Him. I'm being transformed to His image. I am being transformed to His likeness. So that is the whole essence of Christianity. Christianity is supposed to transform you to be able to imbibe in yourself the characters of God, the God that you have believed in, the values of God, and the nature of God, the attitude and the responses and behavior that are synonymous to those of God. So that is transformational relationship with God. But like I said, in paganism and paganistic worldview, it is transactional relationship. It's about what I could get.
Myself.
So because that is what Christianity met on ground in Africa. And the people who came to Christ now, they are coming from that mindset and from that worldview. They don't allow Christianity, they don't understand the whole essence. They don't know what worldview Christianity brings. They don't study that deep. So they remain who they are, and they just add what they could understand or get from Christianity to whatever they already had. That is why it's called syncretism. Syncretism is a mixture of two things. So they maintain the worldview and add understanding Christian names, Christian practices to the worldview they already have. That is syncretism. And the worldview is what determines who you are. So once your worldview didn't change, even though you say you are a Christian, but you still remain a pagan. How? Because your worldview is still such that you come to God for transactions. You come to God to get something, and you trade with God. I will serve you, I will be good, I will do everything you tell me, just give me this. I come to church every Sunday so that I will not miss out on some blessings. It's transaction. The same thing we used to do with our own little gods and deities. So as long as that mindset, that worldview remains in the majority of our African people, we don't change. Because transformation has not taken place. And we are not being transformed to the image of God because of the mindset, because of the worldview that we have. So even though we are coming to God, but we cannot be changed. We know the words, we can preach it, we can do miracles, we can receive blessings, but we are not being changed in our worldview because we don't know worldview. Nobody even talks about worldview. When was the last time you went to any church in Nigeria and you heard about worldview being talked about?
That's philosophy. That's philosophy. They don't talk about it in church.
That's philosophy? Okay, if it is philosophy, so why did Paul say that you should renew? You should be transformed. Transformation. Through the renewal of your mind. That's also a true philosophy.
Yeah, you know how church folks will preach that kind of message. They don't see it like that. They just.
So he was talking about transformation.
Yeah.
That is transformation your worldview.
Yeah.
Transformation of your worldview, the way you see life. Yeah. So, but our people don't allow that to even though they will read in the Bible, for example, where Jesus said, "Love your enemies, bless those that hate you, pray for those that curse you, and bless those people that abuse you." Or So, and what our people will say, no. That is, you don't understand what God said. That's not what He meant. The Bible says, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live." Mm-hmm. So they will see what Jesus is saying, and counteract it with something from somewhere else. Mm-hmm. Something that they always look for, something that lines up with their paganistic worldview. Mm-hmm. So that's why they say it's no larger integrity in the society, because no transformation. There might be domestic integrity or showmanship integrity, which is just acting, but it is not the core. It doesn't get to the core of our people. Wow. You come from a pastor's house, a pastor's family. Okay, if I remind you right now of some little things, even in your own family, your father, your mother, if I begin to go deep on some way they operate in the, in life, in real life, after praying, I'm not talking about morning prayer, but in real life, they will tell you it's Nigeria. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if that is a pastor, because they don't understand that, that's not supposed to be so. And that their worldview is supposed to have transformed them to different individuals and people entirely. Wow. That's why this whole larger society is not experiencing integrity. Yeah.
Amazing.
I've said too many things, though. I've said a lot.
Yeah, you said a lot, and I think it's anyone who really would go back and listen to everything you've said. Would see that the fundamental problem that we have with who we are as a person or as people, as Nigerians, comes back to our worldview as Nigerians, our perspectives, and the way we see the world, and the way we
our core,
yes, and until we change that core, until we change that worldview of us, that essence and our core, there will be no change in our nation. There will be no change in our people. And but
you didn't put the book here that could help them.
Many books. There are many of your books that talk about this. I don't know. I'm thinking of
the essence
and value of life that works. I'm thinking of. Also, am I a person? I'm a person. Am I a person?
No, but the essence and value of life
gives an explanation to the worldview of what life is meant to be about.
The essence
and the value of life itself. Yeah. That addresses the worldview. That addresses the core. Yes. That addresses the core.
Do you have the book?
Let's get the core. And that book also is totally against our present worldview, which is for the
because some people might be wondering. So how do we change that worldview that we right now have?
Yeah.
What book will I be able to get that will condition me to be more godlike, to transform me, transform my worldview to God's worldview? Yeah. And not just about anything, but about in life in general. That book there.
Yeah, of course. That's the book right there, The Essence and the Value of Life. This book definitely would do the magic. And another book I will add that really did it for me is the book titled Holistic Personality.
Oh, yeah. Ooh,
That book.
that one will deal with you. That not just about life. This one is about life in general. But that one will deal with you personally.
That one will break you.
Do you have a holistic personality? Yeah. That one will deal with. It will reset you
from inside.
It will break you, from inside. Not just your worldview about life. No. This is about worldview about life. How to look at life and how to live your life. But that one will change you from
inside out. Yeah.
Inside out.
So that
holistic personality.
Yeah, holistic personality. That book definitely would do it. So the essence and value of life and holistic personality. If anyone would really go and lock yourself up and read that book
for a week.
For a week, no. There's no way your factory settings will change.
I think we could even do one day.
Yeah.
Why? Maybe next Friday, actually, we could address the issue of what people could do in a lockdown.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a good one. Because
how to make yourself better, what to do in a lockdown.
Beautiful.
And it will be a very engaging thing between us.
Yeah, that's deal. I think because right now people are like
they are lost.
I mean, when I speak to people and they ask me, "And how are you coping?" I'm like, I'm not coping. It's like I'm thriving. It's like normal
regime.
Like normal regime. I don't even feel it. I mean, it's just
that's the way we live.
That's what we live here. I mean, we are like we put ourselves in lockdown
before now.
Before they put us, before they put anybody, so we've already created our prison for ourselves.
And that's what I always say. If you don't create your own prison,
the world,
other people
will create it for you.
Will create it for you.
Yes. So this is the book right here. Wow, holistic personality.
Mind-blowing book.
Yes.
You will just see yourself naked. It's like looking in the mirror.
Yes.
And you would like to hide. You will be reading this book and you feel like putting it down.
Yeah.
And just go and rest first and recover.
Of course. Yes.
You might even be thinking, no, I cannot finish this thing.
True. Because it will question your very
deal
essence.
With you to the core.
Yeah, your very essence. Yeah.
You will even be wondering, how did I become like this? Because before you were thinking it is everybody else that is like that.
Yeah. But then you have to just tell yourself the truth. I mean, it's there, glaring, that this is me.
This is me where I am. Even me, I'm like that.
Yeah.
I'm among them.
I'm among them. Yes. So it's a book that I remember when I was literally shattered, and it created a major shift in my life. It was like how you destroy a building, collapse a whole building.
Lego,
yeah. And then you have to reconstruct it by yourself. So, it's a very tough process. I was telling you that I had to question a lot of things. There were many things I was just questioning. That why would Dr. Sunday say this? Or why would this be? So I put the book aside at some point. I'm like, no. Then I'm battling with some of your quotes. And I'm like, no, why would they're questioning many things. I know, just question.
Because you are face to face with the truth. Either you should accept it and embrace it,
or just say no, I don't believe it. Let me just be myself.
Many people. That's what has been giving a lot of my followers problem. People who follow you, it's not easy to follow you. They say, some people tell me it's tough to follow you because some of the things you bring out forces us to look inside ourselves.
Yeah.
Some hard truth that you don't want to look at, you don't want to look in that direction. It's difficult. And then when it's not just one time, over, you want to run away. And that's why some of them they don't just run away, but they become your enemy.
Yeah.
Because they would, this guy is just, who does it? Is it perfect too? If it's not perfect too, so why should he just begin to look for its imperfection?
Yes.
You get it?
I get it, of course. And it's an experience that everyone who listens to you would have. Because it's almost like the whole world and our life has been moving in this direction, right? And everybody you look around you is going like this. And then here comes one man who is saying, this is wrong. You're meant to go like this. You're meant to go the other way around. And you're not saying you have to like deviate 10%, right? Or you have to deviate 20% to get it right. So imagine somebody coming like this and you're saying no. I'm not saying turn right or turn left. If it was turn right, turn left, that's like no problem. I can easily turn right and turn left. But here, someone is saying no. This path you're going is the wrong path. Turn back, like go 180 degrees.
That you'll be wondering. Most of my life,
I've been going like this. And not just most of my life. My dad went like this. My mom went like this. My father, grandfather went like this. My friends are going like this. Everybody is going like this.
I remember one time when you used to walk in the park and in the bush, then you are really struggling with what your friends were saying, and what they were doing. They were marrying, they were getting jobs, they were getting salary and things. You come, I will answer the question. Then next week again it's the same. I said I don't answer this thing now. Then in 2 weeks then we come. Then 2 weeks again it's the same. I think I said this thing now.
It was tough. It was tough. It was tough making that shift. It was tough making that shift. And that's the reason why I don't even try to explain myself so much to people. Because I know the process.
They have to go through it too.
That you have to go through to understand. Just first to understand. Not even make the shift. It's first to understand that worldview. That life
is not about yourself.
It's not about yourself. Life is not about.
So what is it about? How will it not be about?
Yes. So at least first to grasp that, it's difficult to grasp it. And that's why many of the questions I was asking you is for me to understand it. Sometimes I feel like you explain to me now, I get it, I go back, I study, I have more questions. And I try to, in my mind, I'm thinking I'm asking a different question. But it turns out I'm asking still the same question. But then, the more I was willing to go through that process of really understanding this thing and really getting it for myself, then making the shift, because I'd gone through that whole process of really working on myself, on learning some things, and learning some new things. When it was time for me to make the shift, it was easy because, when you see someone who is trying to fall a tree, he's hitting it to 1, 2. No, it's like nothing's happening, right? So he keeps on hitting until he goes for the last hit, and then the tree falls. But of course, it wasn't the last hit that fell the tree. It was the continuous process of. So as long as he did not stop hitting that tree, you would get your result. So that's how it was for me. I was willing to keep hitting myself because I know that this is truth. Somewhere in my head, I just know that this is true. What Dr. Sunday is saying is the truth. But can I sacrifice?
Ever get there?
Yeah, can I sacrifice my ego? Can I sacrifice my personal desires for this truth?
My worldview.
My worldview for this truth. Am I ready to let go of all I have believed thus far to be truth? To embrace God's reality, to embrace
but
this truth.
That is the Jordan many people cannot cross.
And many people just want to know the truth, but for you to be transformed by the truth, you must be a lover of it, and you must be a doer of it, where you are sold out to it, where there's nothing you can do against it but for it. So when you realize that this is truth, there's no arguments. You don't even try to prove a point. You just say, okay, this is truth. I submit myself to the truth. I submit myself. I'm not arguing. I'm not saying I know anything. But that's the fight that many people who listen to you and many people who even attack what you say in your teachings and everything is because they are not submitted to the truth. They are not ready to say, truth, I'm submitted to you and I want to
They want to come with their own
They
opinion.
want to come with their own opinion.
And try to convince the truth.
Yeah.
And say it's the truth that is wrong.
That is wrong. So, yeah, it's tough. And when you say people say that they either want to run away or just like either turn to become your enemies, that's understandable because it's tough. But on the other hand, I want us to come back to the discussion of today, where you were making a very cogent point of the essence of Christianity. I feel like we need to have a whole course and a whole movement, a whole group of people who they are just propagating this very essence of Christianity. And that the essence of Christianity is transformation. Is that transformation?
Transformational relationship with
God, yes.
Rather than transactional relationship.
Exactly. Just that
idea.
That's it. So if the Christianity that we know.
Okay, for example, somebody wrote me recently and said, you this guy, you speak so well, you know a lot. But there is a problem with you have holes in your understanding. Okay. And I've discovered it.
What was the discovery?
The discovery is that it's just because you don't understand. What do they call this thing? Christocentrism, or what they call it. They call something Christo. It's a new move now. They are all calling
Christocentric, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You don't understand Christocentrism. Mm-hmm. You are not talking about Jesus all the time. That's your problem.
Hey, what the discovery?
He doesn't know that I can show a whole book about it. I have written 2 books just about Jesus life, and about Jesus, how to become like Jesus. They just want to talk about Jesus, but they don't know how to become like Jesus. You see, somebody could be Christocentric, somebody like that, and yet not be transformed. Because they are just preaching.
They're just talking the talk.
Talking the talk. Because that is the thing. They just want to talk. They say everything must be about Christ. Everything must always round on about Christ. Okay, you are saying about Christ. Jesus is talking about him. Everything must always end up with him. But that is not the reason why Jesus came. He wants that Christ to be visible in you. He wants you to become that Christ. And that they are now frightened about that one. They cannot imagine that. Because, it is not about Christocentric that you are talking about what he did and what he said. He said it like this, he said it like this. That is not Christ's dream. The whole essence is that you receive him. And when you receive him, you become him. And that's what I'm demonstrating.
Yeah.
That's why Jesus could say, I and my Father are one. How many Christians are? Even those who are saying Christocentric, they are not saying, I am. If you see me, you see Jesus. They are not saying, I am God carrier. I am kingdom imposer. They cannot talk like that because they think, people will think they are proud. Because they are not. That is not who they are. But transformational relationship is supposed to make you into that.
Oh, so true.
So they are talking the talk, but they are still in transactional relationship.
Wow. No, that shift has to happen. I don't know. It just that shift has to happen in the body of Christ from transactional relationship to transformational.
So they will tell you what Jesus did. Oh, Jesus! Somebody touched the woman with the issue of blood. Issue of blood touched the hem of his garment, and he was healed. He was made whole. Jesus healed the leper. He fed the 5,000. But they don't know that is not the reason. This is not for storytelling that was given to us. It's for transformation of us into that Christ that doing all those things. So if I see people feeding 5,000, that is me. I must now go and design a way of doing the same. If Christ said, if you see me, you see the Father, that must be me. Anytime you see me, I must not just be telling the story and preaching the message. That Jesus said it's a big deal about Jesus. No. It's so that we will replicate him. He was the firstborn. So that we could follow in his footstep.
Wow.
Transformation. We are being transformed. The more we behold his glory, his image, we are being transformed from glory to glory into that same image and to that same glory.
Wow.
It's about transformation.
Yes.
But our people don't even want to get to be taught about that.
We don't want to talk about it. We're so far from that. We're so far from that. I would like to speak to our dear viewers who are watching us right now. Very quickly, I want to go through some of the books. I still have some questions I want to ask Dr. Sunday as regards our topic for today, Nigerians and the lack of integrity. But there are some books that would be very useful and essential to...
What about the one on discipline?
On discipline, the power and force of discipline, disciplining nations.
Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of books that we could mention that has to do with inner transformation. Well, this book right here is titled The Supremacy and Preeminence of Truth. This book also addresses the very fundamental value of God. Even Jesus said, I've come not to testify of myself, but I've come to testify of the truth. So if we're going to experience a transformational relationship with God, then truth has to become who we are. We must be people of truth. So this book talks about the supremacy and the preeminence of truth. We only get this book for free if you're a subscriber of the Amazon Kindle Unlimited. Not just this book, can we see the next book? All right. Okay, that's it. The book is titled The Value-Driven Nation. This is also another book that talks about how Christianity, right, how Protestant Christians brought about civilization, how they transformed their nations by imposing the right values, by imposing the kingdom values. So it's a book that would take you on a journey on how to actually build a nation, a society, a community that is driven by values. So the book is titled The Value-Driven Nation. Let's see the next book. How to build a developed how to transform and build a civilized nation. This is also another book that is filled with a lot of practical steps on how we can build our nation and how we can become civilized people. What are those things that we need to do?
You are becoming overwhelmed by so many books.
No, there are a lot of books like this that,
all the books are transformation.
All of them. When I'm asked which books should be put today, I'm like, which one I choose? Because every book, you're looking left, right, center. Every book is useful. Looking at this book, when I read this book, I was like, wow, this is exactly like a template. If we can just...
For the whole
society, easily written, understandable, and can be implemented. It's for a set time. We're coming. So, but you only get this book on Amazon Kindle Unlimited if you're a subscriber for free, or on DSA Books, DSA Planet, DSA Books Planet. Yeah, DSA Books Planet. You see, that is on the screen rolling there. You can get it.
Or write to us
at dsasbooks@gmail.com. I think we have another book there, maybe Holistic Personality. Yeah, this is the book right here, Holistic Personality.
That one, they shouldn't read it.
No, you have to go to solitude. You have to go. As a matter of fact, if you want to read Dr. Sunday's books,
any one of them,
you have to go to solitude if you really want to make whatever you're reading flesh. You can just read for knowledge, just put in your head, but that will not transform you. it's like you're just having a transactional relationship with the book.
Again, yeah.
Yeah. So, but if you want to have a transformational relationship with with the essence of the book, then you have to lock yourself up. You know.
Same with the series, the YouTube series.
Same with the YouTube series. You just have to be in that place where there's no distraction. You have to build that restraint where you're focused, your mind, you begin to use the eyes of your mind, like we discussed last week, to see. Yeah. So that's the book, Holistic Personality. You can get the book on the platforms we mentioned.
There is a lady that's helped me to edit it.
Yeah.
36 years or so in Winners Chapel, a Christian, but she's been in Winners Chapel for maybe like that or something.
Yeah.
And she said, she broke down. I thought she's just starting a Christian life. She has not even. It's like she had never even come across Christianity.
Yeah.
And she was what they call them, deacon.
Deaconess.
Yeah, in Nigerian church.
Yeah. I see. Well,
it broke her into pieces.
I mean, she's a deacon. I mean, when I listen to even their Jews. I mean,
that Jews.
You know, even, I mean, as a deacon or deaconess, she can be pardoned, right? Because she's eating from, even the Jew himself is spitting out, I mean, paganism. I mean,
syncretism, everything.
Yeah, soaked and baptized in all of these false, I mean, and pseudo-Christianism. So, I mean, it's understandable if as a deaconess, and I see it every day, and I'm just like, wow.
It's just like now, people were asking me to do a video about 5G
and the coronavirus
and what Chris said.
Yeah.
So I did. You go and read the comments. You think they are throwing dung at you.
Yeah.
Excreta in your face. I mean, people come and say all kind of
things. Yes. Yeah. I like what you used to say. You say people are people.
Well, you know, what do you expect if if foolish people are going to celebrate and say, yeah, you are right, yeah, it's true. It means we belong to the same category now. But if foolish people are abusing me and are calling me names and saying all kind of things, that is a compliment to me now. That is like they are applauding me. They are recognizing who I am. They are telling me that we don't believe. That shows that we don't belong in the same category. Yeah. They don't. We are not coming from the same place, and that is a compliment.
True.
You shouldn't expect foolish people to understand what you are talking about, and that's why they are who they are.
Yeah.
And I am who I am.
Awesome. I like that. I remember when you were talking about it, and you said, I mean, the insult of fools is your compliment.
It's my compliment.
Yeah, your compliment. So that's understandable.
The celebration and the praise of fools is a disgrace.
It's a disgrace.
It's an insult.
It's an insult to you. Awesome. Well, I want to speak to our viewers. You can start registering your intent if you want to call into the studio. We're not done yet, but you can start writing us now if you want to contribute to today's discussion. The way to do it is to go to Facebook Messenger. Search for Olena, OLENAS . You see the picture of a lady. Okay, now you've changed it. Okay, so right now you're going to see.
What is the picture there?
Move agents.
Oh,
Movement against. Yeah, with a mask, something like that has a mask on it. So you could go there, write to us on Messenger that you'd like to contribute, and when it's time, we're going to call you, so we could hear what you have to say about it. Back to the subject of integrity, Dr. Sunday.
Yeah.
In what ways and how does the lack of integrity affect the productivity and the growth of our nation or of a nation? In what ways?
Okay, if you hear, I'm sure you have heard that a lot of companies were leaving the country, and I saw one of the articles, and they about 7 or so big companies that were in Nigeria since the 70s, and some of them came in the 80s. A lot of them just started to leave the country, and those people will have contributed to the economy in employment of people and just the general well-being of the economy and GDP and productivity and everything. And they started leaving. And the reason is because we cannot work with these Nigerians. Too much deception. They cannot work according to the rules. They don't follow the rules. They just want to break and, the lack of integrity, basically. So lack of integrity brings economic downfall. It brings poverty. And the people who are stealing our money, where are they taking it to? They are stealing our money, which means they are depleting our economy and our society, and taking it to hide in England and in Switzerland and places where the thing will be safe. So, which means where there is integrity. So they are enriching other cultures. Most of our politicians who lack of integrity have made them to be corrupt. All the corrupt money they are using to buy houses in Dubai and in America and in other places. So we are becoming poorer. We are, before maybe we were living on $5 a day or $10 a day or so. Now that poverty, lack of integrity has brought us to a place where we live on less than $1 a day. And before we were maybe one of the 10 or 20 countries that are poor in the world, but now we are number one, when it comes to population. So the lack of integrity is everywhere. It destroys everything. You will not be able to produce goods and services. You will not be competitive. You will not be able to, nobody will know how to do anything because everybody is trying to beat the system. Everybody is trying to, be smart, the way we say it. So instead of them to learn how to put, what they call this, tiles, how to put tiles on the floor, they don't learn it. They just want to do fast so that they will get, so there will be no quality house, but your money has gone. So for your money, you will never get quality stuff. You go out to buy something, maybe some Milo or Bonfita, and instead of Bonfita inside, somebody has mixed some things inside, and it's something that's what lack of integrity does. You buy a house and they put a door for you, and the next 2 weeks or 2 years the door is falling apart. Lack of integrity brings destruction. It brings shame and destruction. That's why the Bible says that righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach. So sin is lack of integrity. It will bring reproach and shame and disgrace and poverty and lack and everything to a nation. Too many disadvantages.
Wow. Let's go to what are your strategies? And I'm sure we cannot give, you cannot give a full description of your strategy or how we can nip this thing in the bud. But just as on a discussion level right now, how can we nip this thing in the bud? What are the strategies that you can give right now to anyone who wants to start doing something now?
First of all, we have to know that it is not nations and people or nations don't become great because of the wealth of money or natural resources or because of physical wealth. But nations and even people, individuals become great because thanks to the wealth, because of the wealth of virtues that people have. So nations are not great because of, thanks to because of the value or what nations are not great.
Yeah, because of the
virtue of their wealth.
Yeah.
But because of the wealth of their virtue. So it is the wealth of virtues we have to begin to propagate. Our people need to begin to understand that wealth, the real wealth, is not money. And it's not in material things. Real wealth is the wealth of virtues, the content of character, values. Value system is the greater wealth that now produces the physical wealth. So, and for that to happen, we need people like yourself and myself and other people who will begin to propagate that. We need propagation, and we need also legislation. Legislation for us to have the rule of law, and so that we will legislate righteousness. And also propagation, because people need to renew their mind and change their mindsets and worldview about these things. And then our churches need to be taught what is the essence of religion.
Yeah.
The essence of religion is supposed to be transformation, not transaction. So that worldview has to be changed. Like I said, I've written a book on worldview, but I've not published it yet. I call it the worldview calamity of Nigerians. We have a whole calamity when it comes to the worldview, and we have to resolve that. But for individuals that are watching us,
Yes.
so what can they do? We already told them all these books that are being displayed today will help them greatly. I would like them to start with, which one should they start with? That will be easier a bit on them. Maybe they should start with, if it is individual transformation, you can start with the essence and value of life, just for yourself. And then for yourself too, then, you know, all these ones, you have to do them in solitude. Then for yourself, you want to try the holistic. Holistic personality. All the others will now support you to, you know, be able to change your worldview in general.
Awesome. Well, I mean, thank you, Dr. Sunday. All of these materials you're giving out and that you've given out, if we can get people to really experience the change and transform themselves, then we can become agents of transformation. There's always a remnant. You know, there are people right now who have worked on themselves in Nigeria, and they're people of integrity. And I remember that was one of the things that also caught your attention, even with the present president, because that was like his selling point, man of integrity. And there are people like that in Nigeria. Now, how can we get these people to be at the helms of affairs? How do we get these people from just being people of integrity in their houses, you know, or like you described, domestic holiness, where we know that there are people of integrity. I'm sure there are people who are listening to us, and there are people also in Nigeria who they have integrity, but of what use if your integrity is just confined to where you are, and we can't see it affect your community, your society? What do you say to those remnant and those people like that? Yeah,
that is our biggest challenge, that people of integrity mostly are trying to live their own life and hoping that people will see the way they are living right and follow up. But people don't just follow like that. You've got to be proactive with your integrity. So we need people of integrity to step out and become and create platforms where they will propagate and advance their values.
Beautiful.
And also, they too themselves must become a living platform that is daily agitating. They must be agitated. They must agitate for the right value system that has changed them to now come and change the society.
Beautiful, beautiful. You know, as you're speaking, I just remember the same feeling I had when I read your book, Insulted by Ungodliness. You know, raising a provoked generation. And I think that
is the whole essence of that book.
Yes. You know, where you just have to be provoked by these things. I mean,
the book attained its goal.
Its goal. You just have to be provoked. You just have to say, no, I have to do something. Like, I have to do something. I can't just be here hoping and just wishing that people will get it.
Or even praying.
Or praying that people will get it. But I have to be insulted by all of this ungodliness and start making amendments and doing things. Because I think I was having a conversation with a friend of mine lately, and I was saying that because the person was from the viewpoint that you have amazing dreams and goals for Nigeria, but man, I doubt if it's possible, because those guys are just overwhelming. I mean, the wrong guys. And then he was like, but if you look at it, other countries still have people who are doing bad things. So I was trying to explain to the person that, of course, we cannot eliminate
evil.
It's of course altogether is impossible. Even Jesus did not do it. But the people of lower cultures
Values.
and lower values, they are taking the center stage of our nation. And it's like everybody is just looking and they are okay with it. People who are promoting the wrong value systems, people who are promoting vices, they are the ones who are celebrated. That is sick. Of course, we know there are, for a country like America or the US, there are people who are also practicing the wrong things, but they are minorities. They don't take the center stage. They are not played everywhere in their schools and in offices and in shops and in malls. But you go to Nigeria, these guys are everywhere. I'm telling you, I live in a very local place in Lagos. As local as that place is, these bad values and bad vices are there. These guys who, especially through media and all of that, even in that village and in that local place, I could see it. So I could see how they are strategic, and that's something that we have to talk about too. Maybe not in today's program. How we can be strategic too, and how we can bring righteousness. I like the way you put it you have a term for it, organized righteousness. And I really love that concept when I was studying it, that there's organized crime, right? People who are of the opposite kingdom, they are so strategic. They know what they're doing. They know how they want to infiltrate everybody, from rich to poor, from old to young, and they are strategic about it, and they are achieving their goals, and they are infiltrating the whole society at large. But we Christians that were meant to bring a superior value, or meant to bring the reality of the kingdom of God, were just clueless about how to bring transformation and how to infiltrate the whole system with the values of the kingdom. And I think we need to equip ourselves with some of this truth. And it brings me to mind many of your series that you've taught about systems building. There's a series you taught about how to build a civilized and developed nation. Many of these things you've taught on YouTube, and I really wish that people are able to take advantage of it. Yeah, but nonetheless, what I would say is, now that we have the opportunity, to be on lockdown, I want to encourage everybody who is listening to me right now to do all that you can to get a hold of these books, study them, lock yourself. Now there's no one job that is calling for you. God has helped you to put your job on a hold.
Go on solitude.
Yeah, go on solitude. Lock yourself in your room. Take these books, devour them, rip them off, let it become your flesh. Go with all of those teachings and series on Dr. Sunday's YouTube channel. They are there for free. You don't have to pay a dime for them. Go there, lock yourself up, and start the process of transformation. And let this lockdown period be one that would be of great benefit to you. Next week, we're going to be talking about what to do during lockdown. Maybe we'll come up with another title, but you don't want to miss next week's episode, where we'll be talking about what to do during lockdown, how to maximize this lockdown period. So I think we'll be willing to receive our callers today. So if you want to call to contribute to today's discussion, you just have to go to Facebook Messenger, search for Olena S. Stebelska. That's OLENAS. So just write to us that you would like to contribute, and we will call you. So we have some callers who are ready. So we're going to be receiving the calls. All of the books you saw today are available for free if you are a subscriber of Amazon Kindle Unlimited. And also, there's a good news. Dr. Sunday's books are now available on BAM Books. BAM Books is an online platform that very, very, very affordable, but you have access to like 100 of Dr. Sunday's books on that platform. So BAM Books. So if you go to BAM Books, you could search for the application BAM Books. That is for people in Africa, people in Nigeria who want to get a hold of Dr. Sunday's e-books. Okay, we have a caller already. Good evening, caller.
Hello, Dr. Anu and DSC.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
This is Jacqueline calling in to the program.
Jockey, right. Nice to hear from you again.
Thank you. So I would like to give an example regarding today's session. A year ago, an headhunter from South Africa reached out to me after checking out my profile online. So she said she was actually searching for a candidate to head a particular unit in a global multinational firm, within Nigeria. So, but one of the questions she asked when we were talking during the pre-interview session was, she didn't mean to sound offensive anyway, because she really apologized before asking, and said that one of the issues she had before reaching out to me was their bosses overseas did not want a Nigerian for that particular role, because that role was a very sensitive role. That role had been vacant for about 7 years plus.
Wow.
Within Lagos, Nigeria, and they were comfortable leaving it vacant because all the Nigerians that they had hired for that role had compromised on their duty.
Wow.
So they were actually fleecing the company of huge sums of money through, vendor procurement and other stuff like that, through contract issuing and stuff like that. So they got tired and said, please search for other nationalities from other African nations who can fill in that position, but it must not be a Nigerian. Their bosses were like, we don't care whether the Nigerian had studied in Harvard or studied in Yale or studied in wherever, they are all the same. Once they assume that position, they all start to compromise. So we'd rather prefer to bring in an African nationality from another African country to fill in that role. So she said it took her a tough time for her to convince her bosses that, look, all Nigerians cannot be like that. There will still be some Nigerians who will have integrity.
Yeah.
That they should give her time to scout around, and search around for Nigerians that she thinks, would have integrity and will not compromise on that role. So she said that was why she was reaching out to me, and she asked if I had experienced that, in the past. And I told her that yes, it happens. I gave her instances, situations where people compromise on the job, and said, look, I don't blame your bosses for giving you that instruction, because if I was in their position, I would do the same. I would give out such instructions.
Yeah.
So integrity is not just on the part of the leaders alone. It's also on the part of the followership. And it's not just in the public sector, it's even more pervasive in the private sector. So you have a situation whereby vendors come and tell you that before they can get a job, they are given particular jobs in one company or the other. Whoever is, giving out that job is asking for ridiculous things, from money for landed properties, money for cars, things that are so ridiculous. You begin to wonder if these people are not being paid well. And they are actually being paid well, or it's just greed in the system.
In Nigeria itself?
Yes, in Nigeria itself. So, it took us, myself and that headhunter, we had a back and forth.
But do you think it could be true that even though exposed and enlightened Nigerians who have lived abroad are also like that?
Yes, they are. I have seen situations like that.
Can you speak louder a bit, please?
I'm saying I have seen situations like that. Yes, they can compromise as well, even though they have studied abroad. Because that headhunter gave me instances of Nigerians that they had recruited who had studied abroad, lived outside the country, then came back, occupied that same position, and they also compromised.
Wow.
So she said it took her time It took her time to convince her bosses, and when she saw my profile, she said, okay, fine, that this seems to be a Nigerian who has worked in some parts of Africa. Let me talk to her and see if she will be willing to occupy this role. So our bosses said, okay, fine, go ahead. But they are not giving her a complete 100% assurance that, this role will eventually be occupied. As I'm talking to you right now, DSA, this role still hasn't been occupied. The headhunter keeps reaching out to me and telling me that, giving me updates that this role has not been occupied because they haven't been able to find someone to fill in that role up until date.
Yeah, some people also are telling me similar things. Even Dangote, I heard Dangote himself mention it, that he would rather go to East Africa, like Kenya, Uganda, or Ivory Coast, Senegal, to go and look for other Africans, especially English-speaking Africans, and bring them to head their corporations in Nigeria rather than taking our people from Nigeria.
Yes, it's absolutely right. I really don't blame people who do that, because I've seen it several times over the course of my own career. So I know that, this lack of integrity is a pervasive one. And the problem is that our people are so short-sighted that they don't understand these kind of mistakes have far-reaching effects, not just for an individual, but for other incoming generations, younger generations who are aspiring towards, such kind of a role. So with our short-sightedness, we close the door of opportunities for others.
True.
Which is a very sad thing. So, in our own little capacity, at least in my own workplace, I'm trying as much as possible to teach people the importance of, having integrity. In a very, very little things matter. It matters a lot. But our people don't seem to understand that, integrity can take you far. Lack of it can also mar your future and your present current career options. They don't really seem to understand that. So it's a long ride, but as we continue to educate people on, platforms like this, definitely some people will get it right. Some people will not get it right, because you can't, at the end of the day, you can't save everybody. But at least for those who get it right, will be able to, implement the right kind of principles and policies, so that upcoming generations will live a much more better life, and will be able to live much more aspirational lives. That's my contribution for today. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Wow.
Bye.
Awesome. Thank you very much for calling, Jake. Yeah, I mean, can you imagine? And there are people in Nigeria who will be saying that there are no jobs, and they have.
I know a lot of Nigerians who complain that all these people, they are employing mainly expatriates. Now, why should they be employing expatriates when we have our own graduates that are unemployed? So their own expectation is that, and their own explanation is that it is mainly because these people are white. It's because of the white skin. That's why our people want to employ them. But sometimes it is, but most of the times it is because of this lack of integrity. Because they know that their own people lack the integrity, so they would rather avoid them than, to risk it.
Risk it, yeah.
And they would rather go for a foreigner.
True. Okay, we have another caller. Good evening, caller.
Good evening, good afternoon, Dr. DSA.
We can't hear you.
California. Hello?
You need to speak louder.
Yeah.
Who is that? You need to speak right into your device.
I'm trying my best. This is Ada from California. Can you
Well,
hear me?
no, we can't.
Interesting.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yes, now we do.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I had to put it on speaker then.
Yeah, now we do.
DSA, I actually have a question that I'd like you to address regarding integrity this time around.
You have to do it's gone back again to the way it was.
Oh dear. Is it better now?
A bit.
I think it's just today's...
You did something the other time that made it very good.
I just put it on speaker. I didn't do anything else.
Yeah, can you still put it on speaker?
It's on speaker now.
Okay. All right.
So can you hear me now?
Yeah, very good now, yes.
Okay. So the question I actually have, it was someone's comments in the comment sections that, triggered my mind, and I was like, I really need DSA to speak on this. When people say we are striving, we want to be like Jesus, that's a very popular church saying. But if there's something for a very long time, I find that statement very dangerous. And I say it's very dangerous because it gives us the excuse to not live up to that name. It's like, if I were to say, I want to be like DSA, it's not a matter of saying it, because there's steps, systems, and things DSA has done. So before I say I want to be like DSA, it's like I have to warn myself of what I have to go through. So for you to, what I've learned from your teachings is, how can you be a better version of yourself by looking at how DSA has improved himself to this level? When I look at you, it's like, how can I do this and be better? But you see, the majority of Christians say we are living to be like Christ. We are walking to be like Christ. It's like a herd mentality of, I want to be like Bill Gates. That's wishful thinking. So when we say we want to be like Christ, there's like no penalty. There's no checks and balances. If I fail, people will say, after all, we are men. Jesus was half divine and half human, so we can't all be Jesus. And people still make fun of such statements that you be God. So when the majority of Christians, and when the pulpit says, I want to be like Christ, and everybody is celebrating this statement like it is, the way we say it is not how it is attainable. So I'm hoping you can address that statement to remove the untruth behind it.
You can't believe it, Ada. I actually did, and I have a message on this. It's called "Don't Strive to Be Like Jesus."
Wow.
It's on YouTube. Don't strive to be like Jesus.
I certainly need to go find it.
I'm talking about that for about 2 hours, just about this thing.
This is why you're different. You're telling people don't strive to be like Jesus. It is heresy in the church. How can a pastor tell people not to strive to be like Jesus? But that therein lies it's like a lie, but it's an untruth. You can't be like Jesus, If you wake up and say you want to be like Bill Gates or Elon Musk, you know what you are up against. You tell yourself straight up, don't lie. It's not possible, because you know your capability. But when someone like you says, this is how I became who I am, then it dawns on me like, I have no excuse. Whatever I am, wherever I'm able to attain, it is my personal efforts, in my belief in self, my discipline. You begin to take responsibility for yourself. But once you say, I'm striving to be like Jesus, it becomes, God have mercy, by the grace of God. When people say, by the grace of God, it's like somebody just hits me with a mallet. Like you've just put an excuse. It's like a disclaimer, insurance disclaimer. Perhaps I don't make it. It's because God's grace was not sufficient. So thank you. That was just what I wanted to address. And apparently there's an entire YouTube discussion on it. I would definitely find it. Thank you so much.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I remember, I think it was from the How to Know God and Be a Friend of God.
Yes, from the series How to Know God and Be a Friend of God. There's a whole series over there, and that's one of those messages. When the first time you heard about it, don't strive to be like Jesus, just the title alone, or you didn't have a chance?
Of course I listened to it. I was curious.
No, but you listened to it, yes, but before the message itself, just listening, hearing that title, were you also taken aback?
Of course, it brought a lot of curiosity. I mean, I was really, what do you mean by don't strive to be like Jesus? I mean, that's what we.
That's the whole idea now.
That's the whole idea. Yeah, that's the whole idea. So of course, an average Christian, or most Christians, would be taken aback with that title. Don't strive to be like Jesus.
That they will say this guy has missed it totally.
Yeah, heretic.
He has become heretic. He has lost it.
Yeah.
Let's just pray for him. Let him come back to Christ.
Let God bring him back. Yeah. We have another caller. Hello, caller. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Shegun Fatumo.
Shegun Fatumo.
Wow. long time.
Wow.
By,
Yeah,
the,
long
by the way,
time.
I told Babu to arrange an interview with him. Find out what's going on that front.
I will do that after.
As I've said a long time.
I'll do that after.
Long time.
Long time, sir. So I'd just like to make some contribution. I think it's a very interesting topic. And I don't know whether DSC, whether you know the extent of lack of integrity in Nigeria.
No, I don't have an idea. I've not been there in 12 years.
Yeah, I know people that live abroad, they tend to think about Yahoo boys, and
Yes.
what they call the Yahoo plus, and as well as the politicians. Yeah, but if you live in Nigeria, you will know I travel a lot to Nigeria and other parts of Africa. And so I get to meet up and I know what is actually going on there. I want to give you some examples. One of our friends in the UK decided to go back to Nigeria, to live there. He's a software engineer. Fortunately for him, he got a job, a contract with the government.
Wow.
And they asked him to develop a very nice software for them. So he was very excited, and he's also a pastor. So they gave him a very good money for the software. So they gave him the deposit initially. So when he was done with the software, he went to them and he gave them the software. They gave him his money. They gave him the remaining part of the money, but they said he can go. Because it was like, okay, what of the software? He said, no, they don't need the software. Yeah. So that should tell you the extent, because what they actually want for by awarding that contract is not really about the software. It's about the share that the person that's awarded the contract will get.
Wow.
Yes, that's the extent, and it was so shocked. And if you maybe one of the roles that are awarded in government also in Nigeria, you may realize that when I was growing up in Nigeria, there's a road from Lagos to Ibadan. That road has been awarded almost every year, and up to now that road is still very, very bad.
Wow.
So why was the road not done? So you know that all this contract is all about sharing money and all that. I want to believe that maybe things have changed a little bit with the Buhari government, but I find it very difficult to believe because of what we hear. That's just one example. Another example is also a few years ago, I was invited to give a workshop also in Nigeria. I will try not to mention the agency, one of the federal agencies. And just a workshop. You know, if we were to do that kind of workshop here in the UK or in the US, it's just a normal thing. You just do the workshop and you leave. But when we got there, so they just started making a lot of noise. They brought the media, they brought all the NT and started talking about the workshop. It's also a big deal. And they brought a few other persons from the US and others, and we did the workshop. We used the whole part of the day to talk to media and all that. You imagine the amount of money that was spent on that.
Wow.
And eventually we got to know that the reason why they actually did the workshop in the first instance, it was because it was getting towards the end of the budget year and they had some money that they had to spend.
Wow.
So they spent that money to bring us, and they spend other money on media. And of course I know others will have been spent on something that cannot be accounted for. So that's the level, because this thing is not really about the politician or the Yahoo boys. So 3 years after that government agency, they wanted to recruit me, and they said, okay, they want me to come and all that and all that. I said, okay, fine, I can come, you can recruit me. And in the process, I got to discover, they said to me that they really, really want me, but according to the government policy, they have to recruit 5 other people. The reason is because there's something they call government character in Nigeria.
Yeah, federal character.
Federal character in Nigeria. So the other 5 people, they don't have any qualification. But because they employ some, and they were going to recruit me for a very top position, and because they employ one person from the southwest, so you have to also employ one person from the northwest, one person from the, for what? For doing what? And if you employ people that don't have any skill, they're going to be doing nothing. So in that image agency, one of the time I went there, the person I was working with, a very top director, I was telling him, oh, you have so many people in your department. We could do this, they could do this, they could do that. He said to me that he had 36 people under him, but he said he worked with only 2 of them.
Wow.
That the remaining people, they don't do anything. They come to work, and these people they are Christians and Muslim. They come to work at 10 o'clock. By 11 o'clock, they go for fellowship for an hour. And they do that fellowship every day. I'm not exaggerating anything. And by 3 o'clock, they are on their way back home.
My
and
God.
They do absolutely nothing.
Terrible.
And one of them that I was interacting with happened to be a wife to a pastor, one of these very top Pentecostal churches. I was like, and you know, people don't see that as wrong.
Wow.
They don't see that as you are getting government salary and you are not doing anything, and you go home every day and you go and you sleep in peace.
They don't see it as wrong.
It's not wrong. Yeah, that's I think that is, if you ask other people, that is just normal for many government workers in Nigeria up to now. So when eventually they got to employ me, eventually I didn't take that job. One time they asked me to do some what they call medical documentation and all that. So I went there and they gave me a file and all that, and it was just saying something that I didn't understand. So he told that director that he asked me to bring the medical record and all that. I was thinking that I would need to go to the hospital and do all this medical record. So later I was told that I don't really need to do that. I should just give the guy the money that will get me my own medical record.
Uh-uh.
Yeah. So how will you get and
How would they know your health?
That's what eventually happened. You just need to put a document there.
Just say two.
Yeah, just bring some money and your record is ready. So eventually I left everything and I didn't go ahead with the job. I didn't finish the enrollment and I didn't go ahead with the job. So the thing is that the things are so bad, and this is not only politician. It's not only Yahoo boys. It's everywhere. Even the woman that says something on the street, on the road, or the people that work in the private setting, everyone is just corrupt.
Wow.
But that is not actually the problem. The problem is that people don't even know that that is lack of integrity.
Wow.
So that's my little contribution.
Woo. You blew this thing. You blew the roof today with this your talk.
Yes. Yeah, Mr. Shegun. I mean, this is like light to us here because we know we were
living in our own secluded world.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for your contribution. I appreciate that. Wow. Yeah. Sad. Very tragic.
That first story he told, I've heard it before. Something similar before. Somebody even told me, that it happened to him.
Who?
They gave him a contract. They awarded him a contract to build a very major road between, is it Owerri and some place or somewhere between Port Harcourt and the east. And that road, they awarded the contract. And they said, they just told him that, go back to the UK. That's not, you've taken your own share and we have paid you now. He said, yes, but we need to do the work. That's not why they have distributed the rest.
That's like Carlos.
Total Carlos.
Wow. Man.
They will tell them to build a hospital. You take the money, they share it, and no hospital, nobody cares. They have marked it that it is done.
Man. That's pure wickedness. There's nothing to even describe.
You cannot qualify it otherwise.
Qualify it otherwise. Just pure wickedness. Well, do we have another caller? I think that was the final caller for today. Man, the onus is on us, dear viewers, to take all of these videos and what's the name here? To take all of these videos, to take all of the books that we've mentioned here, and go through that process of transformation and become that person of value, become that person of integrity, so that we can begin to share the light and carry the transformation to people around us, to our societies, to our communities, to our businesses, to our friends, our families. Nigeria would not change by just wishful thinking. Nigeria would not change by hoping. And of course, Nigeria would not change by praying, going to the mountain, and all of our Pentecostal theatrics. Those things thus far has not brought any change. If there's anything it has brought even more disaster to our nation. But the change that we need is that transformational change, that transformational relationship with God that would help us develop the values of God, the character of God, the nature of God, so we can bring those values to our societies that will lead to transformation, that will lead to development, that will lead to growth, lead to productivity, and will bring heaven on earth. You know, that should be our goal and our desire and our heart cries as Christians. So thank you for being with us on today's episode on Fixing Nigeria, talking about the subject of lack of integrity. If you've not shared this video, kindly share it. Share it on your timeline, share it to your friends. Let's spread the word and let's do all that we can to become all that we've been talking about, because that's exactly where the change begins. My name is Anu Ojo, and it's a pleasure and a privilege to be with you this evening. Over to you, Dr. Sunday.
Thank you so much for being with us, and we'll see you next time. Peace.